Jeff Bezos gets a lot of slack for being an unethical businessman, from the seemingly monstrous working conditions within Amazon and their very low tax obligation, to Amazon's monopolistic position within the market and Jeff Bezos' massive fortune. At first glance, it does seem like Bezos is a nefarious slave driver, but is this actually true? Well, starting off, let's take a look at labor exploitation. This is one of the largest criticisms Jeff Bezos receives. But here's some of the things that we should keep in mind. Just a few months ago over the summer, Amazon reached a total of 1 million employees. Now, I understand that the working conditions for these people is a hotly contested topic. But at the same time though, I think most of y'all would agree that having a crappy job is much better than not having a job at all. And I think it's pretty safe to assume that Amazon has given 1 million people at least some sort of respectable job, which has been especially important throughout the pandemic, where tens of millions of people couldn't even get a job at all. I thought that was important to address, as creating massive amounts of non-illicit jobs itself is arguably a good thing, despite the drawbacks. Also, if we take a look at pay, well, Amazon is actually ahead of the curve, as they raised the minimum wage for all of their US employees to $15 per hour over 2 years ago. Conversely, other large employers such as McDonald's and Walmart, who boast over 1 million employees each as well, still lag behind at $9 to $11 per hour. And as for other logistics companies, well, the starting wage at UPS was just upgraded to $14.50 on August 1st, 2020. And the average starting wage at FedEx is approximately $14 to $19 per hour. So Amazon is in line with other logistics providers, and is actually quite a bit ahead of other employers with over 1 million employees. I'm not claiming that the pay at Amazon is justified or even that it's good. I'm simply trying to point out that employers of similar size actually pay less on average, and other logistics companies pay about the same. So it's not like the wage at Amazon is surprisingly low for their industry or anything like that. In fact, LinkedIn, who has over 722 million profiles worldwide, so plenty of data to pull from, ranked Amazon as the 3rd best place to work in the US, and they're only beaten by Google and Facebook. They were especially ranked high due to their minimum wage of $15 per hour and their expansion of 401k plans. As a result, putting aside anecdotal evidence, there is no objective evidence suggesting that Amazon is a low-paying employer per se. However, that doesn't mean that Amazon is good all around. Though I don't agree that Amazon is a notoriously low-paying employer like we are often told, they are no doubt a monopoly. Jeff Bezos generally frames the question of monopoly within the context of sectors aside from e-commerce. For instance, he may point out that Amazon is competing with Google and Apple in the smart speaker space, and that Amazon is competing with FedEx, UPS, and USPS within the logistics space. Or he might even say that Amazon is competing with Walmart, Target, and Best Buy in the retail space. But while these are true, we all know that their real monopoly lies within the e-commerce space. Amazon controls nearly half of the e-commerce space within the US at 49%. That itself shows that Amazon is a monopoly, but this would be slightly better if second place came in at 20 or 30%. However, second place is actually eBay, and they come in at a mere 6.6%. On top of this, 9 out of 10 consumers price check products on Amazon before buying, and 95 million people in the US alone have Amazon Prime subscriptions. Thus, Jeff Bezos does run a monopoly, and this is absolutely an unethical aspect of Jeff Bezos. On the bright side, all monopolies do eventually fall, as their monopolies are crushed by innovation. Next up, we have social responsibility. Amazon isn't related to the energy or oil industry, so they're mostly able to avoid concerns about environmental pollution. Sure, their trucks, vans, and planes put out CO2, but it's not even comparable to energy and oil companies. Moreover, Amazon has already announced that they will start using electric delivery vans produced by Rivian starting next year. So it's clear that Amazon is well aware of their environmental impact, and they are constantly working on improving this. But social responsibility is not just limited to environmental impact. Another large portion of one's social responsibility would be philanthropy. Now, I'd like to preface this by saying that Jeff Bezos did create Amazon, and all the wealth that he has accumulated is his own. Thus, he has no obligation to give any of it away. At the same time though, from a moral perspective, when one has more than they need, the right thing to do would be sharing some of their excess wealth. Jeff Bezos has given away a few $billion, which is no scoffable amount. But it does pale in comparison to other billionaires in his league, like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Warren Buffett, who have all pledged 99% of their wealth to charity. So, that's the current state of Bezos' philanthropic work. Finally, the last major portion of a person's social responsibility would be pushing society forward in one way or another. And with billionaires, these are generally large projects. For example, Bill Gates has been set on vaccinating Africa, and Elon Musk has been set on colonizing Mars and helping the transition into electric vehicles. In this realm, Jeff Bezos actually does have a pretty large-scale idea, which is off-planeting manufacturing and energy production. I have a full video on his plan to do this if you're interested, but in essence, he wants to use his space company Blue Origin to move heavy polluting industries into space and other planets. It's really quite a revolutionary idea, and he would help society at large if he were to succeed at this endeavor. Anyways, moving away from social responsibility, we have economic responsibility, and the media often heavily criticizes Jeff Bezos, as well as Amazon, for not paying their fair share of taxes. Though the media always points out Amazon's small tax bill, they rarely point out that Amazon barely makes money in the first place. Amazon's retail business was actually not even profitable until 2018, meaning that they lost money for 24 years before making a penny. These excessive losses were the reason that they didn't pay any taxes in 2018. So it's not like they were making billions and just somehow wrote it all off. Rather, they had lost money for a quarter of a century, so they were able to cash in on a tax break for 1 year. Since then, they have started to make billions of dollars, and now they pay billions of dollars in taxes. If we take a look at their Q2 earnings report, we'll see that in the 12-month period ending on June 30th, 2020, their income before income taxes was $9.604 billion. It should also be noted that their net sales during the same time period was $164 billion, meaning that their profit margin is less than 6%. So really not bad. Anyways, they ended up paying $1.729 billion in income taxes, which as a proportion of their income is a solid 18%. And considering that the corporate tax rate in America is 21%, Amazon really isn't writing off that much of their income. Aside from this, it should also be pointed out that they invested $35 billion in the same time period into building warehouses, the equipment to be put in warehouses, acquisitions, etc. With all of that being said, I do believe that Amazon does fulfill their economic responsibility. Sure, they may have not paid any income tax in a given year, but they also employ over 1 million people, invest tens of billions into our economy on an annual basis, and are now paying billions of dollars in taxes given that they're actually profiting billions. And finally, that brings us into the point that Jeff Bezos makes tens of billions of dollars per year while his employees earn meager wages. I've pointed this out several times in the past, but this is not a case of Amazon paying Bezos billions while ripping off the average employee. In fact, Jeff Bezos only makes a modest $81,840, and he earns zero stock compensation. The other $1.6 million you see here is spent on various security expenses for Jeff Bezos, which is also very little for the CEO and founder of a trillion-dollar company. If you take a quick glance at the CEOs of other top tech companies, you'll see a stark contrast in CEO compensation. Sundar Pichai of Google makes $281 million per year. Tim Cook of Apple makes $125 million per year. And Elon Musk receives billions per year in stock compensation from Tesla alone. Considering this, Jeff Bezos is actually one of the oddball CEOs who receive no stock compensation. And all of his wealth gains come from the Amazon stake he originally owned, which he has been consistently diluting over the past several years. When I pointed this out in the past, there were some people who commented that if that's the case, Jeff Bezos and other executives should be forced to liquidate their shares to pay employees better, which I really don't get at all. The employees at Amazon knew what the pay would be before joining, and they joined without force from Amazon. So I'm not quite sure why Jeff Bezos as well as other investors should liquidate their shares to pay even more. Anyways, personally, I believe that Jeff Bezos and Amazon are net positive socially and economically. However, it is true that they are a monopoly. But at the end of the day, if you don't like Jeff Bezos' business practices, then just don't buy from them. If enough people agree with your views, Amazon will see a decline in their revenue and they will make change. But that's just what I think. How do you guys feel about the ethics of Jeff Bezos? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you guys appreciate the depth of this analysis, and consider joining our Discord to suggest future video ideas. And of course, consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.